Hey, what's up, Visionaries? Welcome back to the Archvision Fan Jam. My name's Anton. Hopefully all of you guys are having a fantastic day because today's supporter squad Patreon request comes from James. And man, James, you are one of my favorite people in the world, man. I love you, dude. It's just like, yeah, every time we have a conversation, it's just like, it's deep and funny and fun at the same time, man. Just always an absolute pleasure talking to you, dude. And I love your love for the 90s. I just love it. I love that you see so much poetry in it. And every time you send me a song, man, it's just, it hits me right in the feels. And I looked up the lyrics to this. Yeah, dude. We'll talk about it later. But anyway, before we get into this one, I do want to say you guys rock. Thank you for all the love. Also, if you guys want to support the channel at the same time, request songs. Every single song we do on the channel is from the supporter squad. Also, if you want to request albums and get your hands on official... Why do I always say official? Exclusive uncut full album reactions. Definitely join everyone in the supporter squad family on Patreon. And just to let you guys know, yeah, that's where like this entire channel is being supported. Like that is the only place I make money. YouTube pays me like $15 a month. I think it's like 20 or something. But it's crazy. So yeah, you guys, I owe you my life. So thank you. I love you guys. And yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of myself and the entire Archvision community, we're in Discord, find us there. And that's it. So without further ado, let's get to TAL BACHMAN, She's So High. I like it already.
She's blood, flesh and bone, no toes or silicone. She's touch, smell, sight, taste and sound. But somehow I can't believe that anything should happen.
Interesting back and
I know
forth.
where I belong and nothing's gonna happen, yeah. 'Cause she's so high above me.
Oh my god, dude.
She's so high, like Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, or Aphrodite. She's so high above me.
Wow, so this happened to this song too. This happened to Unwell by Matchbox 20. I know this song. It was huge when I was growing up, but I never knew who it was by. I would have, and it's weird. Like I haven't probably heard this song in 10 years, man. But as soon as that chorus hits, I'm like, yo, I've heard this somewhere. But yeah, let's get back into it.
High above me. First class and fancy free.
I like the mix up here.
High society. She's got the best of everything. What could a guy like me ever really offer? She's perfect as she can be. Why should I even bother? 'Cause she's so
That's like shit falsetto.
high above me. She's so lovely. She's so high, like Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, or Aphrodite. She's so high above me. She calls to speak to me. I freeze immediately. 'Cause what she says sounds so unreal.
What'd she say?
'Cause somehow I can't believe that anything should happen. I know where I belong and nothing's gonna happen. Yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause she's so high above me.
Man, James, bringing the 90s back, dude. I love it, man. I love stuff like this. It reminds me of my childhood, even though this wasn't part of my childhood. You know what I mean? Like, I was a 2000s kid, so it was that stuff. He was like, man, Rihanna and, like, Akon was huge when I was growing up, man. Akon was, like, my first love of music. Fell in love with Akon, man. He was, like, my boy. But yeah, man, this, like, one thing I find with James is, so he'll like, from time to time, he's a patron, so, like, you know, they can send me songs and obviously request everything, right? And he'll send me these songs, and it's like every time I listen to them, I'm like, these are so relatable. Like, I don't know, there's something about you, James. Like, you're just, like, you're kind of like salt of the earth in a weird way. Like, when I talk to you, I'm like, this dude is just like, so, like, you're very sensitive. I can tell 100% just by talking to you and stuff, and, like, very emotional, but you probably don't let anyone see that. And, like, but it oozes out of you, man, so don't even try to hide it anymore. But yeah, it's like every song, you know, you send me, it's just like, it's just so honest, like, really cutting and vulnerable. And it's like all the 90s, which I feel like that was kind of like, for some reason, it's like mental health is such a big thing nowadays, right now in our society, but the 90s was, like, it should have been bigger, because if you, like, listen to the lyrics of Unwell or this, it's like, it's so honest, it's so vulnerable, but I guess, like, it flew over our heads what it was really about. Where now we're like, it's everybody's depressed and stuff. It's just like, we talk about it, but it was always there. It was always there in the artists, I guess. And I've been thinking about this idea. I feel like our artists are our frogs. Like, what, there's an idea in nature where if you want to know how a habitat is doing, if a habitat is healthy, you check out the frog population, because they're amphibians, so they can be in the water and in the air. So if they're dying out, it means that one of those is highly toxic, right? Or both. I don't know. Like, you'd think if all the deer were dying, you'd know that the earth was toxic, and if all the fish were dying, but anyway, you guys won't stop. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so it's like, I feel like artists are our amphibians of culture and mental health. It's like, if you want to know how our culture's doing, how are all the artists doing? And from that perspective, it's almost like maybe we've always been effed up in the head. You know what I mean? Because artists seem to always kind of be dealing with stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a thought. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. And also, this song is just, like, so relatable. Like, I can relate to this song so much. Like, I definitely have a tendency to project onto women, people, when I first meet them. I'm like, oh, they're way too good to be with me, that kind of thing. And one thing I guess that's different to me and Tal is like, I'm my most insecure before you talk to me. I feel like once I start talking, if we connect, if we don't connect, I'm doomed. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not into psychology, philosophy, and music, anything like I kind of am good at or interested in, even just interested, because I'm a very passionate person. So I'm like, okay, if I can talk about something I'm passionate about, like, I'm good. But it's like, if I have nothing in common with a girl, I feel like a dumbass. Like, I'm just like, like, that's when, like, my body language gets all awkward and stuff. I cross my arms, and, you know, I'm thinking, and it's just funny. Because I've really been thinking about that. I'm like, it all came from high school, because I was, like, bullied like crazy in high school. You know what I mean? It's like, a lot of people can't, like, I'm unrecognizable just in terms of my appearance and the way I act, because I was like a mute in high school. I didn't really talk, or I don't know. I was this weird thing. I was like half a mute, half always curious. Like, once you got me going, I'd talk a lot and I'd laugh a lot, but, like, I was just very insecure, and my body language and everything was just very I didn't want to be noticed. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be picked on by kind of the popular people in my, definitely grade 9 and 10. That was brutal. That was like a very, very dark time in my life. And And yeah, because like all the pretty girls, the popular girls wanted nothing to do with me, right? So it's like that's still kind of in my head. That's still in my head where I'm just like, okay, if a girl's look really beautiful, I immediately feel judged. Where if a girl's like just not incredibly beautiful, I can talk to anybody. Like if I find like they're just a night, like I really like nice girls. You know, obviously, I think we all do. But it's like I have this thing where if a girl's like really beautiful, I automatically, subconsciously put her into a box. Like she's probably stuck up or only cares about her appearance, that kind of thing. Because again, it's like it's weird how our psychology is formed in high school. A lot of the time, what we think of people is kind of formed in high school, and then like you know you meet a girl or even a guy, you know, that is, you know, really jock-like or something, really jacked or something. And when they're down to earth, like, it still kind of shocks me. I'm just like, wow, like, you're a really cool person. Or, like, when, you know, I meet someone who's, like, really gorgeous, like a girl, and she's, like, super down to earth, I'm just like, wow, like, you're a unicorn. Like, this is crazy. But, yeah, so definitely, like, I can definitely empathize with TAL BACHMAN in that, yeah, as soon as like a woman is like really beautiful, it's like I project all these things onto her. Like she's not quite human, you know what I mean? Or it's like it's unfair to me and it's unfair to anybody I do that to because that's just not relatable. That's not real. It's like everybody has flaws. Everybody is yeah, everybody's imperfect. And it's just funny too. I sometimes think about this. Like we're all like we have like all these personalities in us. You know what I mean? There's parts of us that are super confident, and there's parts of us that are really, you know, insecure and afraid, right? And it's just funny that, like, I sometimes see myself. I'm like, man, why am I so? Like, again, I know it's because of the PTSD kind of stuff from high school and stuff. And I'm like, man, like I just like my body language shuts down around like or even it's a huge thing with like groups of women, like cliques, right? If there's like 2 or 3 women and I'm by myself walking down the road or something, I just like I get awkward. I just like my body language shuts down and I just kind of like look down and I don't make eye contact. And it's weird. And even like right now speaking about it, like it's really uncomfortable. Like I'm just like it's part of me that definitely I feel some shame for sure. Like that's like very deep in my subconscious. You know, I'm very kind of insecure just about the fact I'm insecure about that stuff. And it blows my mind because like I said, you know, as soon as I start talking, I get very confident. Like definitely if I think about myself, I think my looks are like average to slightly above average. Like nothing special. So like anybody who's like very attractive wouldn't find me anything special. But I do find that my attractiveness stuff that comes from my mind and kind of my passion, my you know, just the way I articulate things. You know what I mean? And again, I think that's fair. I think it's important to know kind of, you know, what your strengths and your weaknesses are, right? So it's just kind of interesting. It's like, yeah, like, you know, I have to find my way of like, you know, starting to talk. And also probably another thing is just to anybody who kind of has this too, just probably a lot of guys, is don't look at women like you're trying to pick them up all the time, because that's something that, like, you know, watching American Pie growing up and stuff is part of the culture. Like every time you talk to a girl, like your number one imperative is to like pick her up and make her, you know, fall for you, get a date. Like that's the thing, is like, you know, every time we talk to people, it's like we're trained that you're trying to get the date, right? It's rarely ever like, you know, this is if you find someone attractive, right? It's never like, oh, that person's attractive. But even if you go like, oh, that person's attractive, I wonder if she's interesting, you're still kind of thinking about the date. You're like, oh, I'll talk to her and see if she's cool so that we can go on the date. You know what I mean? It's just interesting. It's like we rarely just look at people and just be like, no, like I want to talk to them. But I was just thinking, I was like, when do you ever just kind of see people in life, guys or girls, and just be like, oh, I just want to talk to that person for no reason and get to know them? You know what I mean? Obviously, if you're in another country or in a hostel or traveling, that is kind of it, because you're trying to meet new people. But if you're in a place of your life where you have a friend group, an established friend circle, and any of that kind of stuff, it's yeah, there isn't really a reason to just randomly get to know people. So maybe that's just it too. It's just it is always a kind of it's an awkward thing because you are trying to win a date or something. You you're trying to be attractive in a weird thing, and it's weird when like you're trying to be attractive. And that's probably just a belief system I have in my head. Maybe not everyone has that. Maybe other people are just like, oh, that's really weird. Like, you're trying to be attractive. I don't feel that. But definitely with me, that is hardwired into my brain. It's like if I talk to someone I find attractive, the number one thing is like I'm trying to be attractive and get her to like me at least. And yeah, that is anxiety inducing for me, for sure. So yeah, well, yeah, this one got really personal. Thanks, James. I pretty much, I'm kidding. I find this stuff is uncomfortable for sure. Like this stuff is pretty deep. I noticed a lot of the vulnerability I share with you guys isn't uncomfortable at all. There are things I feel in control of. There are things I am working on that I feel like I've progressed through. And a lot of the time I share with you guys things that I've already been through. Where like today, this is something that I still kind of struggle with. I still deal with. That still I find very uncomfortable. So you guys are like, I'm sharing something that I don't even know how to figure out. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know how to go change my mindset on this, you know what I mean? Which is funny because I'm a guy that always has answers. That's my thing. I'm the guy with answers. I've studied psychology and philosophy and spirituality and all this stuff, and people are like, "Oh, Anton has the answer." Nope, not with this. I'm still trying to sort it out with myself. Still trying to just, in some ways, be comfortable in my own skin and my appearance, because it's definitely a thing with my appearance. I don't find I am that attractive of a person physically. It's interesting. I know some of you tell me you're like, hey, you're so beautiful. Like some people are just like, you're just sexy. And I'm just like, I don't know what you see, because yeah, it's like I don't see that in myself. Even like I was listening to an interview with Pete Davidson yesterday, and I really like him. I find him just extraordinarily honest, and he was just talking about how he doesn't have any mirrors in his house because like he just hates the way he looks, and like it almost brought me to tears. I'm like, man, because like I'm not that far, but like I can relate to that for sure. Like body dysmorphia, that kind of stuff. Like I definitely have some of that for sure, and like. That's a weird thing is sometimes like I said, I kind of find like I'm in the middle of attractiveness. Like I don't find myself unattractive, but I don't think I'm like anything special. Like I don't think I could rely on my attractiveness at all, like to get what I want. You know what I mean? It's kind of that place in the middle. I don't think my attractiveness could detract from anything in life. There's nothing that people be like, oh, you're too unattractive. Like maybe modeling. I don't think I could be a model, but when it comes to anything else in life, I don't think my attractiveness impedes me in any way, but I don't think I could ever rely on it, which is actually why I've developed my personality. I've always kind of had to rely on charisma, passion, that kind of thing, to get anywhere. You know what I mean? It's like everybody I've ever dated has always kind of fallen in love with me after talking to them. I think, actually... Maybe there's actually a few exceptions. There's some really beautiful women who I actually like. This is the funny thing. Listening to that interview with Pete Davidson, I was like really like I feel like he's kind of like a brother. I love how vulnerable he is. Like he was talking about everything. He was like, I fucking hate the way I look. I have body dysmorphia. But it's like this guy dates the most attractive women. Like one of my biggest Hollywood crushes growing up was Kate Beckinsale, the woman from Underworld. She played Selena in Underworld, and I just had the biggest crush on her. I was like, she is gorgeous, and I figured out yesterday that he was like dating her like a couple years ago, and I'm just like, dude, like Kate I think is 47, and I think he's 27. I'm just like whoa. I was like, bro. Like that is legendary. I was like, and then he's also dated like Ariana Grande and a couple other like just like high profile celebrities. And I'm just like, man, if Pete can do it, I can do it. Like 100%. Like, it actually, like, you know how people say, like, oh, this, unattractive guy dated this hot woman and it gave me hope. I've never got that because I always felt like it was a fluke where Pete has, like, dated consistently attracted, like, supermodel kind of people, right? And it was really interesting. I was like, okay, this is not a fluke. Like, there's something in Pete that, these ridiculously high profile, attractive, strong women admire and like. And yeah, it's kind of like, okay, cool. Like, Pete, I'll find him like an incredibly attractive guy, kind of like myself. I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm like, okay, if he can swing it, like I can 100% swing it too. You know what I mean? Because I think that one thing that I think is attractive about Pete is his honesty, is his vulnerability, is the fact that he's at home being not at home in his own skin. You know what I mean? He doesn't like himself, but he's confident enough to say that and be open about that. And to tell you the truth, man, I learned that from him yesterday. Kind of took me to like even I think even this, me being this vulnerable, which is unusual for me. I think that this was definitely inspired by Pete. 100%. Just seeing him so fucking honest about how much he dislikes himself. I'm like, wow. And and this Kate Beckinsale still like, was able to just love him. And I was just like, wow. You know what I mean? That's crazy. You know what I mean? Just because you find yourself repulsive in some ways doesn't mean that someone like that wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, just because you find yourself repulsive, someone else can find you attractive. Like that was just like a whoa eye-opener, because I was always taught you have to be the best, you have to be attractive, you have to be all these things. I had all these expectations of myself and from people, like growing up and stuff. So yeah, that was big for me. Listening to Pete yesterday, just kind of figuring out where the caliber of relationships he's had. I'm like, cool. It means that my looks do not have to be a detractor from anything. You know what I mean? Again, this is kind of like what I said. I kind of already got that. I'm like, I do have to kind of rely on my personality because I'm not Enrique Iglesias. I can't just walk into a room and people go, wow. Like, I don't care what you actually. It's like some girls are like, I don't want you to talk. I don't want you to break this illusion of like you being this like god. You know what I mean? This Greek god or Italian supermodel. So anyway, that's just a long way of saying, man, I can relate to this 100%. That's definitely something I still struggle with. Probably my biggest insecurity. Women are 100% my biggest insecurity in life. I think I can be up there with the best in business in this. Like I think I'll be one of the top reactors in the world. Like I think I belong in that spot. But like in entrepreneurship and social media, I think I can be at the top. But yeah, that's my biggest insecurity is women dating. That's like pretty a lot of PTSD from high school with that, being picked on, bullied, being kind of laughed at, not found attractive, being I wouldn't really say I was ever turned down. Probably because I was too shy to even ask. You know what I mean? I never really asked anybody out in high school. I don't think I dated. Yeah, like I would date other girls from like other high schools. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where like, because I was the black sheep of my high school, so I'd have to kind of go to other high schools, which I guess right there proves that it wasn't a problem with me. It was more my reputation. Is that I wasn't popular. There's this social hierarchy in school that I wasn't part of, and therefore, like, people would date based on where they were in a social hierarchy, and then I could almost fake my social hierarchy in another school because I could befriend the popular kids in that school by putting on a facade, and then date around in that hierarchy at the top. So it's a really interesting thing, and the more I think about it, it's kind of screwed up. It's like high school is, wow, yeah, high school is a trip, man. It's crazy. It's like animalistic. It's so hierarchical. It's so primitive and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, what do you guys think of this one? And definitely, if you guys are still listening, man, I got you. Definitely. If you guys feel anything that I've felt or feel currently, I got you. You know what I mean? I definitely feel what you're feeling, 100%. And yeah, that's something we can get through together, 100%. You guys know me. I don't believe the end is written in stone. I think that we can progress through anything we're dealing with. And yeah, I will get through this 100%. This will be gone. You know what I mean? I guarantee that. But at the age of 25, it's still here. And we all have something. We all have insecurities, and we all, like I said, are confident in some areas. So that's it. So yeah, let me know, what do you think of this song? What do you think of relatability with this song? Anything I said, let me know in the YouTube comment section down below, the only comment section. Actually, if you're in library. So I guess just let me know in the comment section down below. And that's it. So James, what is your next request? Let me know. And that's it. So I'll see all of you guys again tomorrow. I love you. Peace.